intelligent home video system. Intellivision turns your TV set into a family entertainment center. Intellivision. It's a lot more fun and a bigger challenge. No game plays the same way twice. It's more exciting, more realistic. See how the players move. Listen to the sound effects. The roar of the crowd. There are Intellivision games for everyone in the family. Space games, sport, battle action, learning games, and even games of chance. Intellivision. The finest home video game system in the world today. The only system designed to keep pace with tomorrow. Before you buy any other video game system, be sure. Play Intellivision first. And you are there. Intellivision. So intelligent, no game plays the same way twice. Play Intellivision at selected outlets of these stores. Intellivision.
Hills presents Intellivision, intelligent television by Mattel. More sophisticated than any video game that has come before, providing hours of entertainment for the entire family. Intellivision, with one of the clearest game displays available today. Find this system, plus a complete line of sports and video game cassettes at Hills, where our game is low prices.
Here's an easy question for you. Which of these games is the closest thing to the real thing? A, Intellivision Major League Baseball. B, Atari Baseball. Here they are again, close up. A, Intellivision. B, Atari. If you thought A, Intellivision, you're absolutely correct. You see, I told you this question was easy.
I'll try almost anything. So when Mattel Electronics asked me to compare their Intellivision games with Atari, I gave it a try. I compared Atari Baseball with Intellivision and found Intellivision played much more like real baseball. Then I compared Atari Football with Intellivision. Again, Intellivision played more like the real game. In my opinion, if you try them both, there's only one conclusion you can come to. Intellivision from Mattel Electronics.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Legacy Loading. And as you can already gather by everything we just showed off, today's episode is about the Intellivision. And of course, joining me on this fine adventure is friend of the show and the man who picked the topic himself, Mr. Pop Culture Mechanic. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well, Kyle. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on. Obviously, as for people who don't know right now, Legacy Loading is a show dedicated to going over old video game documentaries, and currently we are working our way through the G4 Icon series, and as I said before, and I repeat myself again, we are covering the Intellivision today. So this is an interesting topic for me, I should say, because I don't know anything really about this aside from a few clips of maybe the Angry Video Game Nerd and just the name itself. But Pop, you said before you actually owned one.
That is correct. When I was a young lad back in the 80s, I believe my parents bought me or bought the family an Intellivision. And it just blew you away because you went from the Atari, which had a joystick and one button, to a controller that had like 16 buttons on it. And you needed overlays from the games to slide into the controller to tell you what buttons did what. So that was amazing right off the bat.
Yeah, you talked about some of the commercials too that we showed off there at the beginning, and you nailed it about one of the guys, right? The pinball guy.
Yes, George Plimpton, author. He was a famous author, I guess, and he would write for. He wrote books and about sports and such. So yeah, they roped him into doing comparisons between the Atari and the Intellivision.
Yeah, and that looked pretty fun. Some of those old commercials, the nostalgia of the 80s vibes too, a lot of the style of the women in there, you could tell were from the 80s. But one of the things I thought was interesting was Hills. I've never heard of Hills. Do you know what a Hills is?
No, we didn't have anything like that out west here. I don't remember seeing a store like that.
I'm gonna look this up right now. Department store.
Must be maybe just like in one state.
Oh well, here it is. Looking at it right now. Hills Department Stores was a discontinued chain out of Ohio, so they were a Midwest company.
Oh.
So yeah, Midwest and Northeast. I've never heard of that, but I guess they went out of business in '99, and they were changed their name. So that explains why I never heard of them.
Oh, okay.
Or I forgot about them. It's been a very long time for sure. But yeah, what some of your other memories of the Intellivision? Like, what games did you own? What were you fond of, and so on and so forth?
Oh, well, you could actually, they showed one of the ones the kids playing there, and it's called Astro Smash. And that was a fun one because you've got all these different, they got the meteors falling from the sky and you have to shoot them out of the sky. And there's the ones that are they have homing missiles that'll come and get you. So it's hard to get out of the way of those. And it's pretty cool because as your score is going up and you're destroying more of them, the colors of the screen will change depending on how many points you have. So I think the first change is like at 1,000 points, and then 5,000, and then 10,000, and the higher up you go. But the more meteors that you don't shoot and that hit the ground, that takes away from your score. So you're always trying to build it up.
Oh, okay, pretty cool.
And that was one of the ones that was really fun. Astro Smash, another fun one. Burger Time. It was almost just like the arcade. Super tough game when you start getting up to like level 7, level 8. You're trying to get away from all the eggs and the hot dogs that are trying to get you, and pickles, and trying to make those hamburgers.
That's funny.
Yeah, there was a lot of good games. I don't know if they're going to go over a lot of the games on this G4 show, but I'm hoping they will.
I hope so too. We'll definitely see. I don't know if I ever saw this one as a kid. There's a few that I remember watching, but I don't know if I watched this one. I was used to be a huge fan of this series, and I like talking about this, especially you've seen the ones when we covered the Xbox ones and talked about other G4 stuff too prior in the past. So can't wait to dive more into this little slice of heaven here. So without further ado, let's get started with this documentary then, shall we?
Right on.
Mattel started putting together something to compete with it.
Presenting Intellivision.
But then when it went through the roof, they said, okay, we got to do this. We got to come out with this.
And triggered the world's first true console war.
Intellivision was so much better than Atari. We had stronger hardware, greater graphical power than the Atari.
I find Intellivision more sophisticated.
They prevailed when others failed.
When the video game industry collapsed in '83 and everybody got out of it in '84, Intellivision survived. Intellivision was the one game system that kept going.
This is the spectacular story behind Intellivision.
There you go, Astro Smash.
That's what Astro Smash was.
Yeah.
Intellivision. So this console survived the great gaming collapse, huh?
Yeah, and Mattel was good because they had done electronic games before they got to the Intellivision. They did a lot of handheld ones that kids like myself were playing back in the late 70s and early 80s.
Okay. I did not know that. I did not know Mattel made the Intellivision too, so that's weird to think about, It's a little toy company that also had a relatively successful video game console.
Yep.
In the mid-70s, gaming is still in its infancy.
The Atari came out, I believe, in '75 or '76. It was not initially that successful. It did well. It was popular with a lot of...
Rest in peace, Mr. Keith Robinson. I believe he's passed away, sadly.
Oh, okay.
Kids wanted it and everything, but it wasn't as popular as Nolan Bushnell thought it was going to be. I think they manufactured 800,000. They sold 300,000 the first year.
The world's greatest arcade video games are now the world's greatest home video games. They're only from Atari.
A company named Atari is king.
Space Invaders was introduced, and then everyone said, oh, I want to play Space Invaders on Atari, and then suddenly it just went through the roof.
The biggest thing that Atari did was get computers in people's homes. Atari put more computers in people's homes.
Now, do you ever remember any of these commercials? Did you ever see them?
I don't remember about the Atari computers, but yeah, the actual Atari gaming commercials. Yeah, they had those, a few of those, but you could see there. Sorry, excuse me. The Pac-Man. Pac-Man for the Atari is like the absolute worst rendition of Pac-Man. Like,
yeah.
it is terrible.
Yeah, when we did the Pac-Man episode of this, a lot of people were like,
Yeah.
"This dog water."
Yeah, exactly.
Than any PC manufacturer was even close to, by a factor of 100 or more, because they learned the idea of you sell the application and not a computer.
But a challenger to the throne rises from Toyland.
Well, when Atari was first introduced, Mattel started putting together something to compete with it. But then when it went through the roof, they said, okay, we got to do this. We got to come out with this.
Mattel creates an electronics branch called Mattel Electronics and introduces the Intellivision to a test market in Fresno, California in 1979.
Oh, wow.
And in 1980, it's ready for release.
Presenting Intellivision, the home video system from Mattel Electronics.
Propelling the industry's first big console war.
For the first time in the video game industry, there were two systems at one time that were out there competing with each other. Intellivision, the world's largest toy company, battling Atari, bought by Warner Communications. Boom, it's going to become a big business thing, big stock thing. Ooh, what's it going to be?
There's a growing library of Intellivision programs to involve every member of the family.
And for families, it was no longer a question of, should we get a video game system?
Now you said your parents bought this for the family. What did you do a bunch of family stuff with this?
I can't. Nah, it doesn't. I don't think so. I think it was mostly so my dad could play the newest games that he liked. They didn't have a keyboard or anything that came along later for the Intellivision. But yeah, it was mostly just for the games.
Oh, okay, so your dad was really big into the Intellivision.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say he's the one that bought it. So he wanted to play around. I think it was because his brother had bought one. That's where I had first played it. Actually, my first exposure was, you always have that cool uncle that gets all the toys and everything like that. So I went over there and yeah, that was where I first tried it out, and I was just like, wow, this is awesome. I want more.
So what was your dad big into? Do you remember?
I think he liked Space Battle, and Burger Time, and I think we had a Tron game. I think it was called Mazatron, which was really hard. Like, it was super hard to when you're a young kid, everything's hard, but just trying to figure out what to do and everything. And yeah, that was the when the movie came out. So the movie came out in '82, and they had a Tron game for the Intellivision, and yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Did you ever play the other Tron games like Killer App or the other one that was a tie-in with the movie for the PS3 and the 360?
Nope, didn't play any of those.
Yeah, I know recently Microsoft added a bunch of games back to their Xbox backwards compatibility just randomly out of nowhere. And that was one of them that popped up. So I was curious because I heard it was actually pretty good. But I've never actually played it myself, so I was trying to find someone else that did play it.
Yeah, not me.
So, oh well. Continue.
Was, which video game system should we get? And now the sales for both Atari and Intellivision went way up. And so, boom, they're going up.
I'm back to pass. Go for it, Dad. You caught it.
The competition just became really intense.
The toy company responsible for Barbie doesn't take their new gaming system lightly.
It was a more sophisticated system because Mattel figured that being this big prestigious toy company, they would compete with Atari by saying, theirs is a little toy thing that you play some arcade games on. Ours is going to be a family educational and entertainment center.
Intellivision can change your family's life.
We are going to have this machine that you will later be able to put a computer keyboard onto it.
Available in 1981.
And you will be able to put a modem on it. They were talking in 1980 about, modem for the Intellivision.
It's so weird.
To be able to get online and to get information.
Hey, drop it in.
Yeah, this is such a wild thing to see kind of nowadays. I mean, I guess now like mouse and keyboard support is becoming a thing for consoles too, but you just grab your console and just drop it into a giant typewriter box, and then it can change in a whole bunch of other crazy shit.
Yeah, and then see, I think to the left of that keyboard is a tape deck, so you can record your programs and that onto cassette tape.
That's so wild to think about. All this stuff is like before my time, so when I look at this stuff, it just always blows me away. I was the generation that was born just as CDs became popular and cassette tapes were just on their way out.
Okay.
So all this stuff is just foreign to me, which is funny. Because now I'm at that age where I'm talking to my younger nieces and nephews, and everything's foreign to them now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it sucks when you're starting to age out, right?
You're getting older, yeah.
Do all this stuff.
So they were really positioning it as this big family unit.
It can change your family's life.
The technology isn't cheap, but you get what you pay for.
We got the hockey game over here. Did you guys have the hockey game at least?
Oh man, did we have hockey? I want to say yes, but it was such a long time ago. Yeah, just trying to remember which games we did have. It was I swear we had hockey. But yeah, you hear that crowd that's cheering and all that? That is like a staple in every Intellivision game that has a crowd. They'll use that same soundbite over and over again.
That's great. And we got Ando joining us. Hello, Ando. It's good to see you. Welcome back from a long break. I hope you're doing good, buddy. Kind of missed you, not gonna lie.
Hey, Ando.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think it's kind of funny. Seeing all the sports games, especially in those commercial trailers, it is crazy to see how better the Intellivision sports games looked, comparatively speaking.
Yes. And I know people will look now and be like, oh, they can't tell the difference, but or you know, oh, those graphics sucked back then. That was the best we could do at the time.
It's mind blowing for 1980.
You got to remember. Yeah.
All right, you got to remember, people. Then the 80s was 45 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it was more expensive. It was $300 compared to $150 for the Atari, but they had this image behind it.
The Intellivision was so much better than the Atari, and stop me now before I go on.
And Dingala.
The Intellivision, like now, if a hard
Star Strike. Did you ever play this one?
Nope, not this one. But this is the George Plimpton did the commercial for this, and he really talked up the game about how it's the first game to ever destroy the Earth.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yes. Yeah.
That's funny.
hardware platform has a year to cook, longer than its
It just blew
competition.
up the Earth. You're not
Every
kidding.
year there's a real advantage. So we had stronger hardware, greater graphical power than the Atari. And the ColecoVision, which came after us, had some enhancements over us. So it was simply a moment, when is that stake driven into the ground? And that's what the designers have to work with.
The reason people liked Intellivision more than Atari was that the graphics were better.
Well, for $150 more, you better be better. You know what I'm saying?
I looked it up, and the Atari, I believe, came with 128 bits of or bytes of memory, and the Intellivision had like 1.5K.
Oh wow!
So it's got you got double or triple the amount of, or actually 10 times the amount of RAM. So you can do we know nowadays we can do a whole bunch of stuff with more RAM. So that's what they did.
Yeah, and Ando says over here, been playing 100 lines, Last Defense Academy. There's a lot of game to this game with 100 endings. Oh wow, I've heard nothing but good things about this game. So slightly to derail here, Pop, have you heard anything about this game?
It's called 100 Line Last Defense Academy.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
It's made, I think, it's a Chungsoft game or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's made by the people who made Danganronpa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about it towards the end of the year. A lot of people have been hyping it up. It just got announced for the PS5 and Xbox coming at a later date with a Switch 2 update coming down the line, they said. But originally it was released just for Nintendo Switch and PC. So a lot of people are starting to spread it by word of mouth. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I saw Ando posting on Fuse about it. But I'm like, I don't want to get spoiled on this one. Sorry. Don't want to react and spoil it for myself just yet.
It just looked better.
But the Intellivision for its time was a very powerful machine.
Mattel decides to milk its hardware advantage and brings in a celebrity to sell the Intellivision to the masses.
No kidding.
Can you hold it there for a minute?
No.
And so instead
I
of
can go back.
Also to point this out, and I read a little bit in one of my books I have, the Intellivision had a 16-bit processor.
Okay.
Like, believe it or not, it was actually had before, the SNES or whatever, when they've talked about being 16-bit, it had a 16-bit processor.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Crazy. But did you want to talk more about this guy? Is that what
There
you
he
told
is. It's George Plimpton. I mean, not much else to say about him. They got him to do the commercials. He's got very debonair, and he's got that British accent, and or I don't know if it's British, but it's very well brought up, well bred accent. You'll hear it when he talks about it.
Yeah, I'm curious about this George Plimpton guy over here. He sadly has passed away. He lived to be the ripe old age of 76 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And you said he has a British accent? He says he was born in New York.
Well, yeah, you'll hear when he talks.
That's weird. That's weird.
I shouldn't have said British. He's more like a very well bred. Like he went to Harvard or something.
Cambridge.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now. He went to King's College in Cambridge. He went to Harvard University. You're right there too. But he was born in New York. Weird. 1927. Whew. Jeez. This feels like an eternity ago.
Celebrity to sell the Intellivision to the masses.
And so instead of trying to position it as the big family center, they instead just started doing commercials where George Plimpton, who was known as a sports writer, came out with a television set with Atari showing Atari baseball, television showing Intellivision baseball.
We did show that
this
off.
was very radical for the time to directly show your competitor in a TV commercial.
An aggressive marketing campaign ensues.
George Plimpton just said,
Look at Atari basketball and Intellivision.
you can tell the difference.
I think Intellivision plays much more like real basketball.
And it was brilliant to use the sports things because this was new. People didn't know video games that well. People hadn't grown up with video games. They were relatively new. Arcade games were still considered.
That's a really good point there, to be honest with you, looking back at it, because this is video game infancy pretty much right here. So it is a very smart and savvy marketing tool to compare sports video games, because that resonates probably with most of the people at the time.
Yeah, and they say infancy, and yeah, the early 70s is when you actually got, the Magnavox Odyssey and stuff like that, the Vectrex.
Mm-hmm.
You did have consoles that were around before that or at that same time, but you couldn't change the game. Like, they didn't come with cartridges. They came with the games that came on them already. You couldn't change out a cartridge, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say.
And then they had that as well. But Atari, you could swap out cartridges, and that moved it further along. It evolved as it moved along here.
Yeah, well, it's also we had games like Pong, and they had to make those special screens that they used to put on the TV. You had to move around the dot, and that was video games for a lot of people too. It's just a simple dot and make your own adventure, basically.
Yeah, use your imagination.
It was no point really in the console. You could just have the same amount of fun as you just drawing it out there with your friends,
Yeah. Well, with the Vectrex, they had the color overlays because the vector graphics on there were just black and white. But they would give you overlays to put over top of the screen to make it color.
It's just so it's ass backwards a little bit. Could you imagine if you bought, say, a PlayStation 5 and on your 4K TV you had to drape down a piece of paper?
Put some cellophane on there. Oh, there we go. That's the color.
Exactly. That would be the equivalent of what these people in the 70s were playing.
Yeah.
If they even had one,
Yeah, exactly.
Because even though people saying like gaming is becoming a luxury now, which is fair. I mean, the price to get in is expensive. I'm not going to take it away from everyone, But they said what, $300 for an Intellivision back in 1980s. That's an insane amount of money, even now. And back then, it was pretty much also astronomically high as well.
Well, yeah. What was minimum wage in the 80s? And actually 1980, what is it? $2.75?
Something like that.
$3 an hour? Like, yeah, you have to work, 100 hours to buy yourself an Intellivision.
Yeah, exactly. Got to put in a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
And even then, that you're still. Then we're talking about video games and stuff. I think they were saying, average video game price for one of these was like 25 USD back in the day or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, this is crazy to think about now. They were paying $70 US, $90 Canadian.
Yep.
That's insane. God bless you, Canadians, and these prices are insane when you hear it.
They sure are.
All right, let's keep going.
A new phenomenon, but everyone knew what a sports game was.
If you try them both, I think you'll find the clear winner is Intellivision.
Compared to Atari's graphics, these were so realistic. And they capitalized with it. They had commercials showing how well their baseball games were to Atari's baseball games.
So everyone could look at that TV set and look at that baseball diamond and say, that looks like baseball. We don't know what this Atari thing looks like, but it's not baseball.
I have no idea.
It was the sports games that immediately set us apart.
And the comparison campaign pays off big.
Immediately, the sales just started jumping once they started doing that campaign. That was in 1981. And very quickly, Mattel was able to grab about 20% of the market.
Mattel will need to do more than just step up to the plate if they want to bump Atari from that coveted top spot. But their next approach may be a little uncivilized.
That is so weird, too, to think about it, how Atari has still managed to kind of be in the lexicon of, modern day people. But you say Intellivision to a bunch of people, and I guarantee you a lot of people probably would have no clue what you're talking about.
That's true, and it's just because Atari has been able to carry on. I think whatever companies come along and buy them up, just keep the name and keep it going, and Atari games, and they move along with whoever buys them, and they have, I guess they have IPs that people want to put out there.
Yeah, they're still a publisher.
Yeah.
I think one of the better Transformer games for the PS2 was actually published by Atari.
Okay. Was it Devastation?
No, I think it was just called Transformers for the PS2.
Oh.
But it was based off of the Cybertron, the Minicron Chronicles.
Okay.
Yeah. That game's pretty good. Still holds up pretty well.
Nice.
And it's very cheap still. So if you're a retro collector and you're looking for a really good Transformer game, look up the PS2. It was only on the PS2, the Atari Transformers game, and definitely check that out and play it. It's really good. I think it's only like $10 to $20, so it's very cheap still.
That's a rousing endorsement from Carl. Do what he says. Go do it.
Exactly. If more people listen to me, you would enjoy life more. That's my theory.
Sales of Mattel's Intellivision are great, and a big part of that is due to a library of quality games such as NBA basketball, NHL hockey, Astro Smash,
there you go,
and Tron Deadly Disc.
Oh, look at that. All the games that you just mentioned.
On the Intellivision side, I'll name some of our favorites. Astro Smash.
Oh, it's such a good game even now.
A game that is the most simple game in the world, but it's just completely addictive. It's just a gun shooting up, asteroids falling. That's all there is to it. There were 3.5 million Intellivisions. There was 1 million Astro Smash.
Oh, wow.
Some of the other games we've had for Intellivision, Night Stalker was a game that people, after 20 years, remember.
Did you also mention this one, too?
No, not Night Stalker.
I thought you said Night Stalker.
I have played it, though.
One truly groundbreaking Intellivision title is Utopia.
Utopia was a game that Don Daglow did.
I'd gotten the idea from the combination of having been a junior high school social studies teacher and watching the movie Attack of the Killer Shrews.
What?
So I know that doesn't sound like it should go together. That's where the game idea came
What?
from. And
I've never heard of this movie, Attack of the Killer Shrews. Have you?
No, I've never heard of that one
What
either.
the? Hold on, now we gotta look this
Got to
up.
be a real famous B movie then.
Attack of the Killer Shrews, not Jews, Shrews. That's a different type of propaganda film. Oh, I guess there was a remake of this one in 2016, but I'm guessing he's talking about this one over here. So, The Killer Shrews is a 1959 American independent sci-fi horror film directed by Ray Kellogg and produced by Ken Curtis. The story follows a group of researchers who are trapped in their remote island compound overnight by a hurricane and find themselves under siege by their abnormally large and venomous mutant test subjects. Okay. It was also, I guess, it was one of those super budget B movies. You're correct about that, but it was I guess it was made back to back with a one that I'm familiar with, Attack of the Killer Gila Monster.
Okay,
or the giant Gila Monster. That's the one that I know, but that's interesting. Okay, so Utopia is based off of that. All right, that's news to me. What is Utopia then? I'm curious.
Wanted to have a diverse range of things in their line, and they took a chance and let me build it. The idea of Utopia is there are 2 islands on the screen, and in those days, that's all you got were nice, steady things on the screen. And your job is to run your island in the way that makes your people happiest.
It was a game where
where does the shrimp part
figure
come
out
in?
how to plant crops on your island and keep your people happy and all of this. And it really was the first sim game. People have
even before
referred to it
SimCity.
as Civilization 0.5 because it really is kind of...
Okay, where's the shrew part? Where are the giant killer shrews? Wait, what's going on here?
Yes, what did he pull from that movie to use in the game?
Yeah, what do you mean? You can't just say, like, oh, I was inspired by social studies and Attack of the Killer Shrews. I think he's bullshitting now. What is
Yeah.
Gotta keep your island happy. We just read the synopsis of what that movie is. So are these little, like, are these hurricanes? Is this the inspiration? That's what it is? Like these little static things going over people's islands?
Yeah. Is that how you make things grow? I don't know.
I don't know what's going on here. What the fuck?
Is it a 2-player game? It looks like it's a 2-player game.
It looks like it could be. We'll find out in a second here, but I'm just wait a minute here. Like, what? Where's the tie into the Killer Shrews part? The island, the hurricane. It isn't shrews. That's what I'm hearing. All right, let's hear this explanation.
The beginning of all of those things. All of these games now with Civilization and with SimCity and The Sims. It really can be traced back to this Intellivision game that Don created back in 1981.
All right, guess we won't get it in.
And for the men and women who create these Intellivision games, remaining anonymous is part of the deal.
Mattel Toys that owned Mattel Electronics didn't want the programmers to be known, didn't want our names out there because they were afraid that Atari or Activision, one of the other companies, would steal us away. So everything had to be anonymous.
They wanted to hide our names. In-house, I was fighting to get credit for my people actually on the boxes. But what they actually wanted to do is they wanted to hide who we were so the competition would not recruit us away.
And every good secret organization needs a good alias.
We did an interview with TV Guide in 1982.
And they sent a gentleman named Howard Polskin to interview us, but Howard Polskin was told, you have to change their names in the interview.
And all of our names were changed. And the writer wanted some sort of a description, a group description for us. And we didn't have one really. You know, we were application software at Mattel Electronics. And application software didn't sound sexy. So the writer said, how about you guys call yourselves
the Blue Sky Rangers, because we talked about having Blue Sky sessions.
Because he heard that our brainstorming sessions were called Blue Sky sessions.
Where we'd try and think up new ideas or new ways to play games. And the name took, and it's stuck ever since.
Blue Sky Rangers. And Our vice president.
This is so weird to hear about now.
Yeah.
I did not know this at all. Did you?
I have heard the name Blue Sky Rangers, but I didn't know it pertained to these guys that created the games.
Oh, now when we're learning something here today, that's so interesting to think about. That I think honestly, Mattel just didn't want to pay them. That's why they had to keep.
Oh, probably. And yeah, you're scared that somebody's going to poach your guys. If you treat them well, they're not going to leave.
Yeah. So I just find that very funny, but I just like that. The TV Guide was the people that came up with this code name alias for them as well. That's so wild. Jeez, TV Guide.
Rest in peace, TV Guide.
That's insane. Then it became the TV Guide channel. I wonder if that still exists. It has to, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it still does in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I don't have cable. So I don't watch TV, but every now and then when we go on the road, I could swear I thought I saw it out there. Who knows? But probably died now because of all the previews that they have built into all these satellites and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Do you ever remember watching the TV Guide channel?
Yep, we had it. I mean, you just sit there and you'd be like, okay, what time is it? Okay, well, we're at the end of the listings. You got to wait till it rolls around to the first channel again, and then keep going.
I hated that so much. It was a struggle for everyone. I'm like, just want to know when my damn cartoons are coming on. Damn it!
What's on now? Oh, I'm missing that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Which channel's playing the MASH reruns? I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something definitely kids today with no understanding at all.
Exactly.
They don't know the struggle of missing the fucking channel.
It would kill them to wait to see what's next.
And Gabriel Baum, he didn't like that name. He said, I hate that. That's stupid. But the marketing people at Mattel, publicity people at Mattel said, let's go with it. Let's give them something. Let's give them something that gives them a hook to write the story. So how about instead of you guys call yourself the Blue Sky Rangers, he just says, you are the Blue Sky Rangers. And Gabriel said, I guess I can live with that, because, okay, whatever. So since we knew Gabriel hated the name, we, of course, adopted it as our logo. I designed the logo for the Blue Sky Rangers. I put his face on it. In the article, they changed his name to Hal, so we have In Hal We Trust around this logo. And that became the generic name for those of us who worked on games at Mattel.
I hated it. George must have hated his life so much.
Yeah.
That's such a funny photo. I think this will be saved for me as a future thumbnail right here.
Nice. Are you going to make it so that your face, so it talks when you talk?
That would definitely be something to work on. Yeah, I'll have to hit up our friend for that. But geez, this is such a great one. I'm learning so much. I never knew about this. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
This is Family Guy persona.
There you go.
It does look like a Family Guy drawing. You're not wrong.
And as the years go by at Mattel, some of the Blue Rangers begin to move on.
When the industry started, it was very strange because now we were getting paid to do what we loved. And we would look at each other and we go, what happens if they find out we do this for free?
The best description that anybody ever did of what it was like to program at Mattel was that it was like living in a college dorm. There was always people there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you could walk in there at Sunday morning, 3 a.m., shout out, anybody here? And somebody would pop up from a cubicle. Yeah, I'm working. Most of them were single. Just about everybody was under 25. So there was a lot of socializing together. A lot of people became roommates. The relationship started and broke up. So it was a very intense time, not only professionally, but also socially with this group of people.
And everything was such a frontier because there wasn't a large body of existing games. So if you got an idea, it was easy to have an idea that was new, that had never been done before.
But despite more powerful hardware, better graphics, and a talented staff, the Intellivision sales still fall short when compared to Atari's.
Television at first was competition. Unfortunately, that's all they had were sports games that looked really nice. But most of the games were two-player games, nothing that was really solitaire. And Atari had all these arcade games.
Is that everything? It's not everything. You can get nearly 300 different cartridges. 300.
And eventually, Mattel started releasing some arcade games, but they didn't have the licenses that Atari had.
Here, Ms. Pac-Man.
Intellivision's arcade games were slower than Atari's. So eventually Atari won in that battle. Atari was the main player. Atari probably outnumbered all the other companies by probably 4-1, but that's off the top of my head.
Discover a world beyond your wildest dreams.
It becomes clear that dethroning Atari isn't going to be easy. So in 1983, Intellivision plans another attack and releases
Intellivision 2.
There are even plans for an Intellivision 3, but the blueprints are scrapped when the competition becomes too much.
Over 430 games.
I didn't even know they had an Intellivision 2, did you?
Yep, that's the one we actually got when I was younger.
No
we got
kidding.
the Intellivision 2, yeah. It was nice, very sleek, gray color, and a lot smaller than the original.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me a little bit of basically the Wii generation versus the 360 and the PS3, where it's even though the Wii was not exactly the best looking game console out there for graphics, it was cheap.
Yes, yeah. And it was something for everybody that could play. If you could waggle your hand, you could play the Wii.
Yeah, and that's what this kind of reminds me a little bit too. It's the Intellivision looked better and it cost more, but as they were saying, it did seem to have a very limited appeal to a mass audience versus $150 plus we have everything. Like, even though it's shitty Pac-Man, it's still Pac-Man.
Yeah.
You know? And you don't have to keep feeding it quarters.
Nope, that's true.
You know, it's basically the same argument. It's like, yeah, you know, a good steak is great and awesome, but McDonald's is cheap and fast and easy, you know? Which one are you going to do? It's like, well, a lot of people will probably eat more McDonald's in their lifetime than they would a bunch of 5-star Wagyu beef steaks, you know?
Yes, yeah.
The problem was there was just too much product out there. You have dozens and dozens of software companies releasing garbage.
And of course, as more and more companies got in, there was more and more game supply and just not enough demand to support that much.
There was too much product for store shelves. They had to start being marked down.
Most of those games wound up being sold at $2 and $3 a piece at discounters.
And here we are coming out with $30 or $40 products.
No matter how good a game was, it was very difficult to sell a game for $30, $40 when you could go in for $30, $40 and get 15 games, even if they were all terrible.
And Johnny's dad goes in at Christmas and he can buy him 8 cartridges or he can buy him 1 cartridge, and he says, well, I don't know the difference. I'll buy him these 8 that are in the front bin and wrap up more gifts for Christmas. And ours that were still frontline good products didn't sell.
You have these third-party companies, can't sell their stuff, they're going out of business.
Unlike the industry today, a third-party publisher who publishes a PlayStation game, Sony gets a cut of it. Back in 1983, if Activision did an Intellivision game, Mattel didn't get anything from it.
Really?
What do? They dump all their goods at cutthroat prices. Now you can get games for $5.
It was a very difficult paradigm for them.
I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of the Wild West back then.
I mean, it makes sense, but that's so wild to think that you could basically have unlicensed, video games just thrown out there for cheap shovelware kind of garbage. And like they were saying, like, parents not going to know wiser, and they're just, wow, this is actually very interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know this. Did you know this?
No, but not this part, but this is what led up and was one of the causes of the crash that happened.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, we're getting to that point right now because we're in 83, so this is the crash.
And things are about to go from
Dungeons
bad
and Dragons
to worse.
It was really the demise of the business, and we unfortunately didn't see it coming.
Oh, that's so wild to think about.
Well, the ColecoVision, they made an adapter that you could play Atari games on their system.
I remember that. I think the video game nerd, he said that in one of his episodes I covered. So I do know that one, but I did not know that developers or publishers, I should say, like of the first party consoles, did not receive any money from people just making video games and putting it on their device. That's very interesting. Because how do they do that? Did they have development kits or something? That's so weird. I gotta look more into this. But
it might have been just that if they were programmed in whatever language, then it was just easy to make one.
Yeah, but even still, it's very interesting. This is such a fascinating time period because, I'm more into the contemporary. The late '90s to today is when I really started to pay attention to video games, and that's more of my timeline. But seeing something like this where you just basically they're a frat house, they basically that's what they're saying. He's like everyone's under 25. It's a bunch of dudes just drinking, smoking, sucking, and fucking, kind of deal, making the most insane over the dumb ideas. Like, what if we made a game where you shoot down bees?
Yeah, and that's what it was like.
That's what it's like. But then you find out that it's just like they're flooding the market, which is garbage, and that makes sense. Shovelware has always been a thing, and one of those things I always like to remind people. I'm like, the past wasn't always perfect,
That's right.
And this is a good example of, just the past wasn't exactly all rose-colored tinted glasses, even though the devs were having more fun doing it. They definitely weren't always the best, especially now because this is the crash. 83. This is when the market crashes.
By 1983, store shelves are overflowing with second-rate games. Prices are falling, and the industry is totally freaking out.
A lot of people just got burned. They just got tired of getting all these bad games. So that drove people away from video games.
Oh, hell yeah!
There were no checks and balances for quality in those days. So a lot of really bad games got out there in the early 80s. And so the whole thing collapsed.
But even as everything crumbles around them, the Intellivision manages to stay on the shelves.
When the video game industry collapsed in 83 and everybody got out of it in 84, Intellivision survived. Intellivision was the one game system that kept going.
To keep the Intellivision selling, a bold move is made.
The senior vice president of marketing for Mattel Electronics, Terry Volesky, looked at the numbers and said, there's still a demand out there for video games. Everybody's getting out of it.
And it has a good one here. Did no one... Hold on. There, I didn't bring it up. Here it is. Did no one learn from the AGV, the nerd theme, going back to the past to play shitty games that suck ass? No. The correct answer is no, they did not learn from it.
Nobody learns.
Nobody ever fucking learns. In fact, they insult you when you bring this up. They're like, what are you talking about?
But people still want to play video games. So he put together a group of investors. They bought the rights to Intellivision from Mattel.
INTV is formed, and the Intellivision lives on. The console that dared to challenge Atari's dominance ends up outliving it.
They continued to make the consoles. They continued to make new games from 1984 through 1990. The company actually lasted till 1991. So Intellivision went through the entire decade of the 80s, which no other system did. I mean, Intellivision at the end was competing on the shelves with Sega. And of course, Nintendo.
The steam eventually runs out, and INTV closes its doors in 1990. But Keith Robinson manages to buy the rights to all things Intellivision and keeps the legacy alive. He also becomes the unofficial record keeper.
As Intellivision was going out of business, as Mattel Electronics was going out of business, I took all of the files. As people were being laid off, I said, I'm going to write a book about this. And so they gave me their personal files and they gave me all this stuff. And so I had amassed like 3 file cabinets full of material saying, okay, great, I'm going to write this book. But then, like I say, Intellivision didn't die, continued to work on it.
And he directs his creative juices into another medium.
In 94, I got really enthralled by the World Wide Web. I started setting up a website. I'll take some of this material that I was going to write a book, I'll put it on the web, see if anybody's interested in that.
And the public reacts.
and 1,000 people a week were coming to read about Intellivision. And pretty soon I go, maybe there's still an interest in Intellivision. People kept emailing us and saying, is there a way to play these games on a PC or Mac?
So Keith gives the public what they want, and Intellivision Lives is born.
So myself, Steve Roney, who was another programmer at Mattel, we bought the rights back. So bought the rights to Intellivision, all the games, put together a product, Intellivision Lives, which lets you play most of the old
I have
games
that.
from Mattel Electronics.
You do have this?
I have it for the GameCube.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I've never heard about this. That's interesting.
It's tough to play with the GameCube controller.
No, I bet, but it's still interesting. So how many games are on here?
Geez, I'd have to go grab it and have a look because I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a lot of games.
Okay.
My TV Corporation on the PC and Mac.
The Intellivision Lives CD becomes more than just a collection of games. It becomes a part of history.
Put it out there for sale on the web and have done real well. And there's been a huge interest in the games, and we're just trying to recreate that whole experience of what it felt like to be working on those games.
They've come to the GDC pretty much every year to kind of keep the history of these old game systems alive and keep the roots of where our industry has come from on center stage. And I think that is important for us as an industry not to forget where we came from.
First of all, for a lot of people, it was part of their childhood. So there's that special bond of childhood of something you played and enjoyed, especially if it's something you played with your brother or your sister or your friend.
Well, I think it's nostalgia, For me, they all remind me of what it was like to be a kid, and how pure everything was kind of back then, And I think that what we see today with the PS2 and the Xbox, I mean, some kids are playing that now, and 20 years from now, they're like, oh, do you remember the days? There's always that do you remember the day kind of story. Do you remember this game? Or, and this is a part of the social fabric of life.
Yeah.
The reason why Intellivision survived the crash in '83 was because it had loyal fans.
Thanks to a renewed interest in classic gaming and to those who refuse to let it go, Intellivision literally lives on.
They were games which were really handcrafted because we had a few months, one programmer, one game. You had a chance to really work on and polish your game as a very individual experience.
One person was in charge of the whole thing, and the games were small, and it was just a thrill to work on.
But perhaps the biggest testament to the true success of the Intellivision lies in the people who were there when it all began.
We get together and we still swap stories, and every year somebody new that we didn't know or hasn't been to one of the reunions shows up, and we get to include them. So the Blue Sky Rangers keeps growing.
We still, 20 years later, we have reunions at a certain pizza parlor in Hawthorne, California, where the gang used to go. Sometimes in Northern California, there will be a satellite reunion.
Yeah. But after 20 years, a lot of us are still friends, we still are together, we still see each other all the time.
A lot of us have worked together off and on during the years.
And we just have a great time getting together because we have that common experience that transcended everything in our lives.
When it comes to space games, nobody compares to Atari.
Excuse me. Have you compared them to Intellivision?
Intellivision?
Sure, they've got great space games, like Intellivision Space Battle.
I didn't know.
And now there's Space Armada and the incredible Astro Smash.
I didn't know.
Here, compare for yourself. Intellivision Space Games from Mattel Electronics. Once you compare, you'll know.
So that was the episode of the Intellivision. I would say that's pretty awesome. Sadly, like I said before, Keith Robinson, he did pass away. He sadly passed away on June 15th, 2017. So it's been quite a while since he has left this world, sadly. But yeah, that was very informative and that was very cool, man. I learned a lot. And now I'm very interested to learn out a little bit more, too, in a future episode that we're going to be doing about the Great Gaming Crash. But, Pop, what did you think about that?
Yeah, they as usual back in the day, G4 did a good job, and going right there to the guys who were there at the time, and like say Keith Robinson, guy co-founder of Intellivision. So that's good on them for getting the story right from the top guy there. And it sure brought back a lot of memories too, seeing the games they were playing. I wish they would have showed the Tron game that I was playing. Um, or Burger Time. They should have. Burger Time is the Intellivision is like one of the better versions of Burger Time during that time. But yeah, I liked it, and yeah, a lot of the stuff I learned for me as well, some new stuff, and it's good that if we can keep this alive and people keep learning about old video game systems and what they had to overcome, and the limitations at the time to
Mhm.
polish those games as those guys did. One guy working on one game, but it's like it's his game, and he can make it as good or as bad as he wants.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing I love about doing a series, and what I always like to just talk about people is that this industry, goes back to like the late '60s is when we pretty much have like our first primordial stuff like that. I feel there is another episode I want to do of this, because they at the very end. That's when G4, I think, released some of the more interesting episodes of this Icon show, and one of them, I'm trying to find it real quick, so give me a second here, was on Ralph Baer. Do you know who Ralph Baer is?
I swear I've heard that name before, but no, I can't think top of my head.
I don't know who that is, so I was doing some research into him. As a tertiary, I kind of want to be a little bit informed of who this guy is. And he was considered to be one of the first people to actually make video games for the consumer public kind of deal.
Okay.
I don't know how accurate that is off the top of my head. I don't even know if he actually made video games, but I know that he is important enough to the history of video games that they dedicated some time to him, and a lot of people consider him like the first progenitor of the actual video game as we know it today.
All right. Nice.
So that is another future topic for another day. But I love video games. They are integral to a lot of parts of things that everyone likes, from anime to sports to just all this other goodness in life that I like the inside baseball kind of thing. I want to learn. I want to know who these people are. I want to know how these companies started and so on and so forth like that. So it's good to see, a very much known about, but also very much forgotten about part of the video game history. And that is, the Intellivision. And this was a good one today, not only just for teaching a history about, Mattel getting into the video game space, but just a history about the games market at the time during the 80s,
Yeah, it sure takes you back and shows you that, yes, Atari did dominate, but I guess they got complacent. They had a lot of games, but then another company comes along and it's like, well, we're going to make ours even better.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have an upgraded processor. We're going to have more RAM. We're going to make our games look as good as we can for that time period.
Right. And, another thing, too, is since we're talking about this stuff, just from doing, I think we're on episode 17. Yes, we're on episode 17 of doing this little series. And you're starting to realize, the best way I could say is like, when you're making a puzzle and you're laying out the pieces and you're like starting to see the formation of the whole picture and stuff like that. Doing the series has helped me learn so much about just the past and how things are interconnecting together, like what the flashpoints of these major events have been. Like when we did the Gunpei Yokoi episode, me and Nerdporial, and we found out why it's called the Nintendo Entertainment System and why it looks more like a VCR over here in the West versus the Famicom system out in
Japan.
And it all relates to basically just that. The video game crash. They didn't want to be associated with calling it a gaming console, and that's why they called it an entertainment system and made it look like a VCR.
Yep, 100% right.
And then you see what they did with the first console war, how they showed off the sports games, how to try to relate it to more of the, common normie mom and dad who are going to buy it.
Exactly. Sports games, sports writers, you could always tune in and see the sports scores on the news. And so they're like, oh, yeah, hey, you want to play your favorite team? Here you go. It's a sports game, and it looks even better than this other console.
Yeah, you'd have to do a little bit of imagination, but it's a lot less than with the Atari.
So true.
Yeah, like with the Atari baseball, it's like, okay, you're playing basically foosball with a baseball diamond.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, what the hell is this?
That was terrible.
Yeah, but no, man, this was a very interesting and a very fun episode. Like I said, this is such a unknown part of video game history for me because, like I said, Intellivision officially died a full year before I was born.
Yep.
So there is a whole lifespan of this console that was made and gone way before I was born, and I'm thankful for you coming on here, Pop, because you at least were able to experience this stuff, and you could actually relate to it a lot better than I could.
Well, that's the disadvantage of being older. You've experienced the things that other people haven't, and you have to recall with your memory what things were like for those that were not around back then. It's yeah, I mean, I liked it. It bring back good memories of me playing the Intellivision 2, and there was even the add-on. I can't remember. Yeah, you might have had a commercial for it, the Intellivoice, because the games could talk then. You could have synthesized voice sound from some of the games, which was what that little box did. You plugged it in and then plugged the game into it. It was quite the advancement.
I think I remember that. I think that was also part of the AVG episode where they was like making fun of the sound it made.
Oh yeah, B-17 bomber. Yeah,
B-17 bomber. That's what it was. Yeah, that's exactly it. There you go. You just triggered that memory. I remember that one.
There you go.
So yeah, and that's when video games, really had to add more gimmicks. I think like we were saying, because the TV and the hardware wasn't exactly capable of doing these 3-dimensional, crazy, polygonal, beautiful artwork like we have now, where they had to try something too. And a toy company, I think, is one of those better companies out there to just get into video gaming, because, like I said, during the late 70s, early 80s, that's way more tactile too. So it helps to have a toy company who understands, what kids want and what a tactile feel of a thing should feel like for its consumer base.
Yes, and let's you say doing the polygons and all that. They had to do like a pseudo 3D or trick the eye, your eye, to make it think it's seeing 3 dimensions. But let's not forget, and a lot of people don't bring this up, is the connections from the console to the television. It was not RGB. It was not even a cable. You had 2 screws in the back of your television, and you loosened those off, and you connected the switch box and tightened it up, and it had a little switch on it to go from television or game console, and that's how it connected to your television.
That's so wild to think about.
That's the connection that was there. It was not anything else. There was no RGB for the game console.
I completely forgot about that one.
So then that would affect your quality of picture and stuff like that. You'd want to not that the picture was extremely sharp or there was like photorealistic things, but that's what you had to put up with at the time.
Yes, for sure. Well, yeah, that was a very fun episode. I got really nothing else much more to say about it. So, Pop, how about you? You got any closing thoughts about overall the Intellivision? Any recommendations, where to find, so on and so forth, these games? Check them out.
Sure. Like, look at your local retro game store. They should have some. I've currently have 3 in my collection that I bought for like $5 at my local game store. Just ones that I really enjoyed. One is called Snafu. The other one was Space Battle and Astro Smash. So I have those just as keepsakes, you know. There's also, you can go out and find emulators. You know, I don't say you can go out and find the hardware. That's going to be really difficult and probably cost prohibitive. But you can find emulators to emulate these Intellivision games, and you can find the games out there and give them a try. You'll be surprised.
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed. I know the old Activision classics, Microsoft actually put them up on the PC side as well recently. That's been like a big thing. Like they have their own kind of segment off kind of thing. I don't remember how you access them. I know Metal Jesus Rocks, he did a whole episode dedicated to showing you about it, and he said it runs pretty good. And these games did get physical copies for, as Pop said, the GameCube, PS2, and the original Xbox back in the day. So if you're interested, I've seen them go as low as, like you said, $5 and upwards as high as $15 for, depending on if you want complete in box and whatnot, or sealed. So that was pretty cool. Mr. Pop Culture, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on, and I couldn't think of anyone better suited to join me for this one. Would you like to plug, tell them who you are, where they can find you, so on and so forth?
Sure. Everyone, I'm Pop Culture Mechanic. I play retro games, big surprise, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Then if you're into anime, I will do anime chat on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. So I work the weekend morning shift for streaming. And then importantly, one of my favorite streams is on Tuesdays when I do Trades Talk Tuesday, and I talk about the skilled trades and how important they are and what's going on in the world from an industrial point of view.
Yes, he is a very multifaceted man. I always like to joke with him and call him the blue-collar weeb. So you should definitely check his stuff out. It's very fun, and it gives you a great insight into not only Canadian safety regulations for construction and other projects of the sort, but also what is the top 10 best-selling games of Famitsu and anime goodness. And you're also playing Odin Sphere still, right?
Odin Sphere, you betcha.
Yes. How far are you into that one? Are you getting closer to the end?
I think I've made it to the halfway point because I've switched over to playing Prince Cornelius, who looks like a rabbit. So I think that's halfway through. I'm not quite sure. I'm not trying to spoil myself or anything, so just going to roll with it.
Yes, and if you are interested in checking out Odin Sphere, it has been ported to the PS4 and the not Nintendo, and the PlayStation Vita. So if you're interested in checking this out, it was a PlayStation 2 classic, and they did a remaster of it. I don't think it was a direct port, but I know it got a little bit of an update in controls and graphics.
I can't say enough good things about it. Great story, excellent for a PS2 game. The graphics are top notch, story is good, controls are great. You're gonna have a fun time. It's that right amount of difficulty. It's just hard enough to make you come back for more.
Yes, very beautiful Vanillaware art style. I love Vanillaware's art style with their kind of fabulistic looking Eastern meets Japanese fusion that they got over there. Very, very beautiful. If you don't know who Vanillaware is, Dragon's Crown, 13 Sentinels, and my personal game of the year in 2024, Unicorn Overlord. Those are what their other projects are out there as well. Also, Atlas published.
Nice.
So they work really closely with Atlas if you're an Atlas simp. Link is in the video description. Just click on his name. It'll take you directly to his channel. So please go there and subscribe to Mr. Pop Culture Mechanic. He is salt of the earth and a rare breed on this channel. So,
thanks.
I really do appreciate you for coming on. And looking forward to having you back on in the future for something else.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's always a fun time. We get to have really good discussions, and I like it when we can do that.
Yes, indeed, indeed. As for myself, we'll close out the show right now. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock Central Time as well, joined by Mr. Cream NATO, another Canuck, as we do the video game news wrap-up. Got a lot of stuff to go with. I got a whole bunch of stories I have popped right now in my links room. Plus, we just had a whole bunch of game trailers and or announcements from this new video game show that they put out there. Oh boy, did that not go over as well as I thought it was going to be. I had hopes for it, and they were not met. But we got a lot of good game trailers. I had more of an issue with some of the people on the show. It seems like they were trying a little too hard, and that's neither here nor there. So with that being said, everyone, thank you for stopping by. It was very wonderful to be here. I hope you enjoyed the new opener and all the hard work we're doing here. And like I said, once again, please go subscribe to Mr. Pop Culture Mechanic. And everyone, have yourself a very wonderful Thursday night.